I didn't plan to remember my 30th birthday in fragments, but that's how it returns, like footage recovered from different angles, each one showing something slightly off. The invitation had come from my mother, printed, formal in a way she never bothered with before. A gathering at the house. She said it would be small, close people. A chance to reset after what she called my intense year. I remember standing in the hallway when I arrived, noticing how the furniture had been rearranged, not dramatically, just enough to create a kind of center. Chairs angled inward, sight lines cleared. It felt staged. I told myself I was overthinking it. I've been told that most of my life. There were more people than I expected, not just friends, colleagues. 2 clients I hadn't spoken to in months. My sister was already there, phone in hand, smiling at nothing in particular, just capturing memories. She said, when I noticed, I didn't argue. I rarely do anymore, not immediately. I've learned the cost of reacting too early. At first, it held together. Drinks, light conversation. The kind of warmth that feels practiced but harmless. My mother hugged me longer than usual. She whispered, "We're doing this because we love you." I didn't ask what this was. It revealed itself soon enough. She moved to the center of the room, hands clasped, her voice already trembling before she spoke. That was the first real signal. Not the words, the timing. "Sloane has been struggling," she said. Not to me, to them. The room shifted in that subtle way people do when they're given permission to observe instead of participate. Faces softened. Eyes narrowed just enough to focus. I felt it then, not panic, not confusion. Recognition. She's been under a lot of pressure, my mother continued. And it started to affect her judgment, her decisions, her stability. My sister adjusted her phone slightly. I saw the red indicator live. 50,000 strangers, maybe more, waiting to see what kind of breakdown I would provide them. Someone I worked with, someone who had once deferred to me in meetings, looked at me with careful concern, like I had already been categorized. "We think," my mother said, voice cracking in the exact place it needed to, "that it's time to step in, temporarily, just to protect her, her assets, her career." The word landed differently than the others. Career, not health, not well-being, control. Emergency guardianship, she added, quieter now, as if saying it softly made it gentler. There was a moment where I could have spoken, denied it, fought, explained. I didn't, because I understood something they didn't realize I understood. This wasn't spontaneous, it was structured, timed, supported by perception rather than fact. And perception, once set in motion, is almost impossible to interrupt with raw emotion, so I stayed still. My sister moved closer, angling the camera. "We're here for you," she said, but she wasn't looking at me. She was looking at the version of me her audience expected. Inside, something didn't break. It settled. A quiet alignment. This is no longer about convincing them. This is about shifting the frame. I had spent the last few weeks noticing things, small things. My mother asking unusual questions about my accounts. Access requests that didn't match her usual patterns. A conversation I overheard that stopped too quickly when I entered the room. I didn't assume intent. I collected inconsistencies. And then I prepared. Not dramatically, not obsessively, just enough to understand what systems in my own home could speak without me. When my mother finished, there was a pause, the kind designed for me to fill. To defend myself, to appear unstable in the process, I smiled, not widely, not performatively, just enough to interrupt expectation. "Funny," I said, and my voice sounded more even than I felt. "I've been documenting things too." No one moved at first. The sentence didn't fit the script they had built. I reached into my pocket, not for anything visible, just to press a familiar surface. A confirmation, not a trigger. The house responded. Not loudly. A shift in lighting temperature. A soft chime from the integrated system most of them didn't even know existed beyond convenience. Phones began to vibrate, not all at once, a ripple. My sister's expression changed first. Confusion, then irritation. Her stream flickered as her attention split. "What is this?" someone asked. I didn't answer immediately. Timing matters more than explanation. On their screens, guests, clients, my sister's audience, short clips began to play. Not accusations, not commentary, just records. My mother in a private call, discussing ways to simplify control over my accounts. Language careful enough to sound legal, clear enough to show intent. Another clip, my grandmother's caretaker speaking hesitantly about withheld medication, about instructions that didn't align with medical advice. My mother's voice again, sharper this time, dismissing concerns as overreactions. It wasn't dramatic, that was the point. No music, no edits, just continuity. The room didn't erupt. It quieted. The kind of quiet where people start recalculating what they thought they understood. My sister lowered her phone slightly. For the first time, she looked at me directly, not through a lens. "You recorded this?" she asked. "I kept records," I said. "I didn't add anything else." My mother stepped forward, her composure slipping, not into collapse, but into something more dangerous for her. "Inconsistency. This is out of context," she said quickly. "You don't understand." But now it was her explaining, her voice filling the same space she had prepared for mine. Authority didn't enter as a person. No one arrived to take control of the room. It entered as evidence that didn't need interpretation. One of my clients, someone who had remained silent until now, looked at his phone, then at my mother, then back at me. His posture shifted subtly but unmistakably. "We should pause," he said, not loudly, but with the kind of clarity that resets a room. That was enough. Not agreement, not support. Just interruption of the narrative my mother had constructed. My sister's stream ended abruptly. Whether she chose to stop it or her audience forced it, I don't know. The guests didn't confront anyone. They didn't need to. They stepped back. Some left, some stayed but stopped participating. The structure dissolved. My mother tried to recover, to reframe, but every sentence she began now carried the weight of contradiction. Not because I argued, but because she no longer controlled the first impression. I didn't continue the broadcast. I didn't release everything. I let what was already seen settle. There's a point where adding more stops helping. Eventually, I stepped out of the center of the room. No one stopped me. No one followed. Outside, the air felt different. Not lighter. Just less controlled. I stood there for a while, not thinking about victory. Didn't feel like that. It felt like something had been returned to neutral. Later, there would be consequences. Legal conversations. Professional adjustments. My sister would lose followers. My mother would deny, then negotiate, then withdraw. None of that happened in that moment. In that moment, there was only the quiet understanding that the version of me they tried to fix in place hadn't held. I didn't celebrate. I went home, which felt like a different place now. Not safer, exactly, but clearer. Reclaiming something doesn't restore it to what it was. It just makes it yours again, without distortion. And that was enough.